Hi guys, it's Jolene. I have today for you a collective, like my most essential brushes, the stuff that I use on a daily basis. I've had a couple people say, hey, what kind of brushes would you recommend? So I thought I'd kind of go through and show you guys what I use the most. And then if you guys need them, then I'll make sure that I leave the links down below. So let's get started. When it comes to my brushes, I kind of have an array of a little bit of everything from everywhere. I have a few drugstore, I have some from Sephora, Sigma, BH Cosmetics, I've got some from Makeup Geek. I have a wide array of brushes that I use on pretty much a daily basis. So I thought I would kind of go through and show you guys what I got, what I love, that I literally cannot live without. So without further ado, let's start with the face brushes first because I feel like I've got less of those than I do like eye brushes. When I want to do just minimal makeup, like it's an everyday thing, I gotta go run errands and I don't feel like putting on a full face, I usually use like MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural. And then to use that, I usually use, this is the Echo Tools. I don't exactly know what it's called. I've had it for quite a while, but it's basically like so basically this is the dupe for the Tarte Amazonian Clay foundation, like the powder foundation. And I think I like it just as good as the Amazonian Clay one, or the Tarte one. Because it's just as big, it's just as fluffy. You can get your product in there, swirl it around, and it gives like a very, kind of like an airbrush natural finish. Like you can't really tell that you've got foundation on. So I really like using this for that. And I've used it before for just like translucent powder over like my foundation if I want like a full coverage, but I don't usually do full coverage. So I really like this. It's kind of a universal kind of tool. You can use it for a little bit of everything. But I found mine at, I want to say I got mine at Target, and I think it was like $6 to $8, but I know that you can find it at Ulta as well. The next brush is also a powder brush. I got a set during, I want to say it was the holiday season at Sephora, and it was a 6 or 8 piece set, and this is what they call their airbrush powder, and it's just like a domed duo fiber kind of brush, but it's so silky soft that I really like using it for like my translucent powder. And I've also used it as like a really like light bronzer. I've used this brush before too, and I really like it. I don't know, I'm assuming that you can probably find this just individually at Sephora, but I really couldn't pass up the set because it, like I said, it was like 6 or 8 piece, and it was like, I want to say it was either $55 or $65, but it's an easy container. Like, I mean, I've got it somewhere. It's packed somewhere in all of this mess. But it had like a little pouch, a zip pouch, and you can sit all of these in there, and it's great for travel. And you can pretty much, that whole set, I feel like I could pretty much use anytime I wanted to travel. Next brush along with that one was from this little kit, and it was the Airbrush Precision Foundation. Now, I don't use this as a foundation brush. I use it for my contour. I really like it just because I like the Narzita brush, but I feel like it almost gets a little too strong and it's a little bit harder to almost blend out. So I tried using this, and I actually really like it. It fits like right there in the hollow of your cheek, and it blends out really nicely. So I tend to use this as my contour brush instead of a foundation brush. The next one is the Sigma Precision Flat Angle. This is the P88. It's the flat top kabuki brush. I use this for my under eye concealer with my Benefit Erase Paste, to be exact. So it's kind of stained it. That's the only problem I think I've noticed with a lot of Sigma's brushes. They stain. Like you can't, no matter how much you clean them, they just stain, and that bothers me. But the actual brush itself is very nice. It's very soft. It fits, you know, really nicely like up underneath your eyes. So I really like using that. You can also, I mean, you can use it for anything. You can use it for like a cream contour if you wanted to. I just use it for my under eye concealer. Another Sigma brush is the Sigma Tapered Highlighter, the F35. And it's what I use it for. I use it for my powdered highlight, and it's a nice little fit. It's very soft. It gets enough product on your brush without like overpowering. And then it blends out, I feel like, really nicely. So I really like using this for my highlight. I've also used it for like powder underneath my eyes. I don't always, but for the most part I usually just use this for highlight. But I have used like my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. I've used that underneath my eyes with this brush, and it's really nice. The next brush is another Sigma, and it is the Sigma Large Angled Contour F40. And I use this mainly just for my bronzer. It's very soft, not super dense, but it is dense enough that it gets a good amount of product. Another one that stains really bad, but I really like using this for just like my all over face bronzer. I don't really use it for contour unless it's something like I'm just going to use a bronzer for like my contour, you know, just like for a quick wash of color. But otherwise I really just use this for my bronzer, and I really like it. The next brush is a Real Techniques setting brush, and this is 9 times out of 10 what I use to set my under eye with powder. I really like this brush. It's like a duo fiber. It's dense enough to get product in there, but it's fluffy enough that you can like really like blend it out without it like taking too much product away or leaving too much product on. I pretty much love all of Real Techniques brushes. I don't have any problem with any of them. I love them all. The next two are from BH Cosmetics, and I got this in a little kit, and I'll make sure that I list it down below because it's like an overall perfect kit. They're all duo fiber. It's got face brushes and eye brushes all in one little kit, and it comes with like the little brush carrier, and it's super cute. But this one is, I don't know what this is. I think it's technically supposed to be a lip brush. But I actually use it for my spot conceal for like blemishes. It's the right amount of density to get the product in there, but it doesn't like overload it to where you get like this huge like splotch on your face. And it blends it out really nicely. I think that's what I like most about duo fibers, is that they're dense enough that it gives you enough product on your brush, but then it blends out so easily that you don't really have to fuss with it. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to like really like blend the crap out of it. It just does it all for you. And then the last face brush is, I'm assuming it's just like a powder brush, but I actually use it for blush. It's super dense, duo fiber, super soft, and I think it does perfect for blush. I sometimes don't always use this. I'll use like a smaller one. Actually, it's another one of these, and it's an angled one, but I really like using this also for blush if it's like a really bright color, and I don't use that smaller one, but otherwise I really like this one. It fits perfectly, and I don't know, it just gives the right amount of color that I want. So this is like my all-time fave. Might as well go ahead and say this. This isn't a brush, but it is the only thing that I use to put foundation on, like liquid foundation, and it's my beauty blender. And I apologize because it's dirty because I just used it. If you don't have one of these, I think it's a must that you have. I don't know what I would do without having my beauty blender, because every time that I've used any kind of traditional foundation brush of any sort, I just don't like them. I don't have it in here. That's actually tucked away. I have the other, like the larger angled foundation brush, precision brush. Where's that? Like the precision flat angled P88. I have the foundation one. I think it's the F88 to be exact. And at first I kind of liked it, but now I don't. I just don't. I would be absolutely lost if I didn't have a beauty blender. I feel like it just gives you a very nice coverage without being cakey. It doesn't leave like the smear streak marks like a brush can and most of the time does on me. I don't know. I really like the beauty blender. I feel like it's a necessity that every makeup person should have. Okay, on to the eye makeup brushes, which I have a lot of. First and foremost, I have a Sonia Kashuk eyebrow spoolie. Gotta have these, you can't live without them. It's just, you have to have them. The next brush is out of that BH Cosmetics set, and it is an angled brush. I really like using this like underneath my eyes, or if I want like a really blown out like powdered eyeliner look, because I don't always use gel liner or liquid liner. I really don't use liquid liner a lot. I usually use powder. So I tend to like to use this to kind of like blow it out and like smoke it out a little bit, and this is like, it's the perfect size. It doesn't like blow it out too much to where it's like all over your face, but it blows it out enough to make it look really smoky. So I really like using this. And with the BH Cosmetics theme, I think this is just technically like a little under eye smudger, and that's pretty much all that I use it for. I like to use it like if I'm trying to blow out some colors underneath my eyes. I tend to use this a lot. The next one, staying with the BH Cosmetic theme, this one I use for like my pigments. It's just like a flat synthetic brush, but it's duo fiber, and I really like it for pigments. And for the Makeup Geek foiled shadows, I feel like it really helps pick it up if you don't want to use your finger. I most of the time just use my fingers for those, but if you don't want to use your finger, then I would say something like this, because it's stiff and you can like really get it down like into the product, but yet it doesn't like overload it so much to where like as soon as you like tap it onto your eye, it's just gonna go whoosh, you know what I mean? So I really like using this for pigments and like for the foiled shadows. And the last one from that set is just it's just a blending brush, but it's super fluffy, and I really like using it like in my crease. Like if I really just want to blow out something, I'll use it in my crease. I like using this also like if I want, like after I've put on my MAC Painterly Paint Pot, I will take, usually, while I'm thinking of it, the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette, and I'll take the Sheer Joy color, and I'll use this brush just to like quickly like swipe it all over my eyelid. I've noticed that my eyeshadow tends to stay a little bit better if I do something like that, especially with like the foiled shadows again, because they've got like an oil base to them, so they tend to crease. I've noticed that if I put like a powder on first and then I put them on, they last like all day. The next brush is from Sephora, from that little kit, and it kind of do the same thing with like what I just did with the BH Cosmetics brush. This is the Airbrush Crease, and I do the exact same thing. I use it in my crease, or I'll take like that Sheer Joy color and I'll just put it all over my eyes. But I tend to use this more like if I just want a sheer wash of color in my crease, I'll use this because it really blows it out and like blends it really nicely. Next brush is from that little kit from Sephora, and this is the Airbrush Shadow. I tend to use this like in my outer V because it gives like a good amount of color, but yet you can really blow it out and like smoke it out to where it doesn't look like it's like just like a big stark color. It just really blends everything out, and I really love it for that. The next brush is from Makeup Geek, and this is her outer V brush. I tend to use this more for underneath the eyes. Like if I just like want one color and I don't want it super blown out, I'll put this like underneath my eye, and it's a really nice, I tend to think of it more as a pencil brush. I mean, you could use it for a really like sharp V if you wanted to, and then take like the airbrush shadow and like blow it out that way. But I tend to use this more underneath my eye, or for the inner corner. I tend to use it for the inner corner as well. Next one is the Sigma Tapered Blendy E35. This is supposed to be comparable to the MAC 239 brush. I wouldn't know because I've never bought a MAC brush, because I think they're absolutely incredibly expensive and I just won't spend that kind of money on them. But I really like this, other than the fact that they shed like crazy. That's the only problem that I've had out of it, and they tend to stain a little bit. For the most part, I've gotten this one clean, but it still is kind of a little more stained than normal because it was stark white. But I really like using this for my crease. And I've got two of them. I've got a backup. The next brush is again from Sigma. This is the... No, this is not from Sigma. This is from... I don't remember. I think this is from actually Coastal Scents, to be completely honest. It's either Coastal Scents or it's from, I can't even think of the other brand, but I'm pretty sure this is from Coastal Scents, and it's the Pro Blending Fluff. It's a little stiffer than the other one. It's more domed. I tend to use this if I want to do like a semi-cut crease, because you can really get like a darker color on there, and you can get it right there in a crease. Another brush from Coastal Scents is the BRC number 2. It's basically just like a shadow brush. I really like using this for any and all shadows. If you've watched my videos, you've pretty much seen that this is pretty much the one that I use the most. I've had it for... My Coastal Scents brushes I've had for at least 6 years, and they're holding up just fine. Like, I've not had any problems out of them whatsoever. If you want cheap brushes but good quality, go to Coastal Scents. Like, next brush is from from Coastal Scents as well, and this is the BRC number 8. It's just a domed, kind of like a crease brush. I tend to use this more for like my outer V. Like, if I don't want something super pronounced, I'll use this with my shadows, and it really blows out the color nicely. I just really love this brush. I use it pretty much every day. It's like my normal go-to for anything when I smudge out like my outer V. And the last one from Coastal Scents is just an angled eyeliner brush. I think it was technically supposed to be for like gel eyeliner, but I don't really use gel eyeliner anymore. I really just kind of use powder. If I'm going to use anything for eyeliner, I'll usually use powder or liquid on occasion, but it kind of makes me want to bust out my gel eyeliners. But I really love this. I've had this one. This is probably my very first brush that I ever bought, so it's probably at least 6 years, if not maybe 7, and it's held up just fine. I use it for powder, I use it for gel, I use it for shadow. I use it for everything. The next brush is by Sigma. This is the Tapered Blending E40. I use this again in my crease. I have a lot of crease brushes, but this one is very fluffy, and it really blows out. Like, if I just want like a really quick wash of color in my crease, I tend to use this one just because it kind of is foolproof. I mean, you can put shadow on there, flop it in your eye, and you're done. It doesn't take any like real like movement. I mean, you can just go at it and slop it on there, and then you're done. And the last brush is a crown brush, and it's a dual-ended, dual fiber. It's a shadow brush on one side and a pencil brush on the other. I use the pencil brush for if I want like a really precise highlight on my brow bone, and I use it for the inner corner. Otherwise, I will use this shadow part for my highlight on my eyebrow. So yeah, guys, that was my little take on all of my essential brushes that I have to have. I hope that helped you. I know when I was first starting out with makeup and really, you know, getting into it, I didn't really know where to turn for it to get brushes. I knew that the drugstore had some, but they weren't really all that great. I mean, you can find some really great brands now. Back in the day, not so much. Now you can get stuff online. You've got Sigma, you have Crown Brush, you have BH Cosmetics, you have Zoeva. I mean, there are so many different brands out there that are doing brushes that it's insane. You've got a wide array of prices that you can spend. I say if you're on a budget, look into Echo Tools, Coastal Scents, BH Cosmetics, Crown Brush, Real Techniques. And if you want to splurge and you want some really nice brushes, I would look into Sigma. I mean, or Sephora. I mean, they all have really nice brushes. I have really nothing bad to say. I've come across some that I haven't really cared for, but for the most part, I've pretty much loved every brush that I've ever bought. So I hope that this helped you guys. I hope that if you get money saved up, you can go spend some money on some brushes, and I will make sure that I link all of these, if I can find them, down below for you guys. That way, maybe if you guys want them, you can go buy them. And yeah, until next time, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.